been,
this type of bucket, this type of bucket. One of those has been reassessed.
we're flying in the face of snow. Robin May's gonna go to the Ski New Mexico meeting this spring, where all the resorts get together, and they all sort of, I'll show you mine, I'll show you yours, stuff. And everybody's gonna be about 25–30% down, and this place is gonna be like, the only one.
I cannot.
It's 5:30, would you like to start?
Because of our advertising.
Oh, it's out here.
It's the advertising. The advertising is countered the lack of snow.
Because we don't.
Well, then you can't win.
If we had snow and advertising, we'd be in a pot of money right now. Come on.
We'll talk later.
I'm good.
I'm good. How are you?
Right, so.
Okay.
Okay.
Because it would be, obviously, if he can just show up and it's like, okay.
Recording in progress.
Thanks. Call this meeting to order. If you'd please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call for the record. Mayor Lindsay,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Howe,
Here.
Councilor Crane,
Here.
Councilor Humbert,
Here.
and Councilor Weeks. And it's noted he will be running about 5 to 10 minutes late. You have a quorum, you may proceed.
At this time, I would ask for a motion to approve the agenda.
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Please get a motion for the approval of the consent agenda.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Who's getting that second? Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. I don't believe we have any requests to speak from the audience.
No, sir.
So moving on, we will move on to announcements and proclamations by the council. If there are any. Not moving on to staff reports. Up first, we have Police Chief Jerry Hogrief.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. I think you have the recap in front of you. I'll just quickly go through that. So the February 2025 monthly recap, and I leave January, the previous month, on there so you can see how much difference there is. There's not a significant change in our calls for service. The total was 192 compared to 189 the month before. Total incidents or CFS reports was 60, and the previous month 62. Warrants generated were 3, and those were in criminal investigations initiated by the police officers. Arrest, we had 5 total arrests. Crash reports, we took 4 total crash reports. Traffic citations issued were 56. Non-traffic citations reduced from 12 down to 2. And then just for other information, Officer Sanchez attended the IR 9000 key operator training. He is now, with his college chemistry, he is now eligible to take the instructor training and be an instructor to teach that curriculum. And I made note, he would be the first instructor north of Santa Fe if he's successful with that. So I'm pretty proud of that. Officer Hott and Lucero attended the IR 9000 operator training. That's a level below the key operator. And Officer May attended first line supervisor training and is now eligible to apply for his advanced New Mexico Law Enforcement Academy credentials or certification. Our budget worksheets and projections were submitted, and we also began ICS training for balloons over Angel Fire. We held our kickoff meeting actually this month for that, but the planning efforts between Chief Vance and I and others had started back in February. So.
Can you explain to the council and make sure they know, since we have some new councilors, what ICS is?
Absolutely. So ICS stands for Incident Command System. It is the federally recognized through FEMA and NIMS, which is the National Emergency Management System, Wildland National Fire Service, all use ICS. And it's my goal, along with Manager Weir, to bring that training of incident command, the forms and the incident action plan, which we call an IAP, to the village for our events. We're in agreement that it's very good training for our staff and personnel to learn those forms and to learn how to develop an IAP during event planning. So when we have, inevitably, a real incident, we know the process of those forms. So I'm pretty happy to bring a little piece of that to the village.
While you're explaining things, can you tell me what IR 9000 is?
IR 9000 is our intoxilizer. That's the breath testing machine. We previously have the IR 8000, and it goes out of service at the end of this month of March. And it's being replaced with the digital version of the IR 9000. So,
Well, I just got a tour of that, I just didn't know what I was looking at.
yes, sir. You saw the old instrument next to the new color display instrument. And I was gonna report on it next month, but I'll tell you now, everybody as of today, has their operator certificate. Lieutenant Strickland and Officer May went to Albuquerque. That's the nearest one that was available to us. So right now, everybody in the police department is an operator trained, and we have Richard, who is the key operator, who checks the standards and calibrations of the machines and can make adjustments and tweaks at his level. I'm the only one that doesn't have it, and somebody has to stay behind and work. So.
One more request, Chief. Next time you report, next month, can we do a year-over-year comparison of your calls? I don't know how hard that'd be. I don't know if the previous chiefs used the same format or not. But I'd like to show, because we both know that activity in the police department's way up, and I'd like the council to see that.
The best answer I can give you is I will try my best.
And can I make a suggestion? Maybe not the next meeting, but in April, just do maybe a quarter. Review the first quarter.
Okay, first quarter of '24 to the first
Calendar
quarter
yeah.
of,
Yeah, that'd be good.
okay, well, let's start with that. I think that's easier for me to navigate and manage. We do have two different systems, as you know. We go through Red River Dispatch for certain calls, and then some are generated within our business line, the 3214. So I'll be happy to try and do that.
Thank you very much.
And I could probably throw in there, with the judge's permission, a blurb on what the intake of the court reflects on citation and collections, if mayor and council would like to see that.
I think that was useful information.
Okay. On it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, we have our tourism director, Greg Ralph.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council. While we're bragging about the certifications our staff has received, the tourism office all has their alcohol servers permits. So we're ready to help with events. He didn't hear me. Some quick recap on our advertising campaign performance for basically February, January, February. In January, our website received 34,700 website visits with 3,500 booking referrals. So 10% of the people that were on our website were clicking off and booking lodging. It's a pretty high number. February, we did 38,000 visits with 4,200 booking referrals. So our percentage went up to 11% were booking, but that's 21% above January. Our site views are going up, momentum's gaining, and usually when you launch a new website after the first month, things flatten out. As I get into the more specific report with the Lodgers Tax Committee tomorrow, we'll get into that somewhat. Totally so far, off of our website, we've seen 7,710 lodging booking referrals. The average on those is $500 a night, and the average booking is 2.8 nights or 2.8 nights, something right around there. We've gained 4,983 new social media followers. We're now at 38,500 social media followers, up from 0 last year. So we're getting up on the step. Our 2.39 click-through rate on our digital ads is still 165% above travel industry standards for click-throughs for other destinations. It's primarily because we know who our markets are. We're serving the right ads with the right messaging in the right markets, and we're not wasting a lot of money. So far, we have aired, believe it or not, Angel Fire has aired 2.37 million television ads in that time period. And those television ads are on connected TV. I've seen them on Peacock, just randomly watching auto racing or other things, primarily served up in Texas, but that's digital ads on gas pumps, that's television ads, that's everywhere we're serving up our videos. So that's a big number. Dallas continues to be our leading market. San Antonio is outperforming their market size. We shifted money after seeing January's results. We shifted money out of Albuquerque into San Antonio, and San Antonio's still outperforming their market size. It's almost like that's our little honey hole we found. And Midland, Odessa is now outperforming Lubbock. I think some of that's because of the challenging season they had further south. So there's nobody going to Ski Apache maybe.
The fires and floods.
Yeah, so maybe that's not great marketing, it's just timing. So we won't take credit for that one. Our top Facebook post with 12,500 clicks was a generic post to visit Angel Fire and book lodging. So we're getting interest, and we have people that want to come up. Ad campaign's performing well. You'll get an in-depth report tomorrow at Lodgers Tax. Our events, you've seen an event schedule that's come out. We're getting closer and closer to putting bigger and better events out. The Fabulous Thunderbirds have confirmed. So we're doing a Blues and Brews festival there. There's a lineup of other country bands that are on that. But you can see we're trying to start the season at Memorial Weekend and carry it through Labor Day weekend. We've got a lot of multi-day events in there. And the goal for us is we need to step up and do bigger events that really bring in Lodgers Tax dollars. It's great to do the cool summer nights in the farmers market, and we know they help us entertain guests, provide activities, and there may be some people that come up for those, but we need to drive bigger events that really drive numbers and book rooms. So that's our goal there. The temporary event facility, Kurt's done a bunch of grading back here, as you've seen. He's hauled in some new materials. Tomorrow at Lodgers Tax meeting, the architectural planning company is coming up, meeting with us. We'll be going through what we need for final dirt, what we're gonna put on the ground, how we're gonna do the turf. We're gonna get a lot better handle on those things. The barricades are here. The tent is here. We're trying to get the turf ordered and get it going, because our goal is still to do the what's it called, the Bucking Barn Dance here after Nancy Birch's Mayhem on the Mountain. So that's the goal, to get that open. The permanent conference facility, we're getting some renderings and some drawings from Ken tomorrow on that as well. So tomorrow's meeting will be some good entertaining stuff you should all attend. And then, as Brett tells me, I'm one of the cheapest people in the village now, because I'm very concerned about my budget and continuing to grow. The drunken sailor days are over. We're all in rehab now, right? So I'm looking at other funding sources. Where can we get grants? Rocky and I are working with tourism office. There's 3 funding sources there. There's the Outdoor New Mexico. It's the time of year where the applications are open. We have webinars on Friday on how to apply for the grant. So we're rolling that, trying to get that funding up as much as possible. I'm hoping the software, the short-term rental software will contribute at least 20% more in revenue that we'll see to our budget. There's been estimates we'll see 50%, 100%, I'm a little more grounded, 20. And then we're also gonna start looking at sponsorships for the tourism office, for our events. Black Diamond Designs wants to be a sponsor and step up and sponsor events throughout the summer. So I'm putting together a package for them. So we're trying to grow those funding sources beyond lodgers tax revenue to really put a marketing war chest together. And then on the communications programs that we're doing, still need to develop a regular schedule on the podcast, get guests in there, get that rolling stronger. The newsletter's been going out well. That'll be going to a digital format. The Village Voice will go digital next month as the water bills go digital. We're still contributing to Enchanted Circle News. And the next communication program we're gonna do is all these projects we have going around the village, whether it's temporary event facility, workforce housing, whatever it is. I'm gonna go out there, we're gonna build web pages for each of those projects with renderings on the village website. So you'll be able to pull up what's happening with workforce housing, you'll be able to see what's going on, see the estimates. But on the actual site where the workforce housing is happening, we'll be putting up banners. And I don't know what it'll say, coming soon, or village workforce housing project coming soon, with a QR code where people can click on it and it'll go right to that webpage. I think it's a good way to promote the projects that we have going on, where people, if they're walking around, they could actually see what they're looking at, like the new fire station. Click on it and get a rendering of it and see what that's about. So I think it's another way for us to communicate with our locals and our visitors.
Good job.
Just make sure you get those signs permitted.
He's not here right now.
Thank you.
Greg, hang on a second.
Hold on, Greg.
Oops.
Councilor Crane had a question
On the larger construction projects, could we do like, not a webcam, but like a time lapse? So when we're actually doing things, we could, have little snippets of, hey, here's all those sewer lines going in, here, deliver your first unit, to see kind of beginning to end. I don't know if
Yeah,
we
I think
have
there's
that.
some ways we can do that with either cheap webcam, digital security cameras, or even like game cameras.
Right.
We can capture, so I'll look at that and see how we can get something going, because that is cool to see bare ground to framed,
Yeah.
to roofing, to that,
Right.
yeah. Okay,
And I'm going to catch you off guard, and if you need to prepare an answer, but I just had a question about the sign that's going at this location. If there's any update on that, we were at one time hoping to have it in before spring break.
yeah, the goal was March, it's still March. It's supposed to ship from China next week. So,
It could be, but it's happening, but
it's happening, not as fast as we would like. I did confirm that it is shipping from China next week.
Thanks,
And they will get here and install it ASAP.
Great. Okay.
So, hoping late March, early April install.
Definitely be here in time for the summer season.
Yes, it'll be here, and it'll be a big help for summer promote events and thank sponsors and utilize it,
Just information in general.
yeah.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else? He's out. Chief Vance?
Hello, Mayor Lindsay, members of the council, Manager Weir, Mrs. Strickland, excuse me. Manager Weir asked that I give an update on training. We were doing our direct reports meeting yesterday, and I had reported that one of our PRN employees, Dawn Durkin, had gone through firefighter 1 and 2 training. And it wasn't until she mailed in her certificate of completion that I realized that we had kind of hit a milestone for the Village of Angel Fire. Along with a couple of hires that we've had recently, we now have 75% of our employees that are firefighter 1 and 2 trained. And out of all of the personnel that we have about 20 personnel, give or take, with our PRNs, depending on how much they work. But 15 of them are firefighters and 5 of them are medical only. And the ones that are medical only are PRN employees. So 100% of our staffing, we have 3 people on 24/7, 365 that are full-time employees, along with a firefighter recruitment grant. that are trained firefighter and medical. I think it's a pretty big deal. Out of our medically trained personnel, 9 of them are paramedics, 6 of them are intermediates, and 4 of them are basics. So, Manager Weir asked that I come up and give that report, Joe.
I think it's the first time, at least in my knowledge, that we've ever been fully staffed 24/7 fire and EMS. at the
With
village.
3 personnel.
With 3, yeah, fully staffed with 3 people.
No, it's incredible.
I also wanted to extend the invite at the end of the month. I'm pleased to announce that we hit our almost last pit burn today. We had 2 really large piles that we were gonna ignite, 1 each, and Captain Romo decided to send it full send, so we burnt 2 big piles, but we are gonna have a ceremonial burn that'll be our last pit burn, and I'd like to invite each of you to fight it out amongst yourselves to see who gets to throw the last flare on the last fire for the pit burn and celebrate that. We're gonna do that at the end of the month this month, so you guys are all welcome to do that.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Chief. Heather, did you have anything you'd like to give us as a staff report?
Well, I don't have a big, long report like everybody else does.
That's perfectly okay.
Mayor, council, Manager Weir. We started collecting, well, Caroline's been collecting the short-term rental permit fees. And we have another meeting with the short-term rental software on Thursday, an update as to where the progress is. So now that the ordinance has passed, they're finishing out the build, so it should be up and running shortly. I talked to the auditors and they're still working on the short-term rental audit. And
Is that the lodger's tax audit?
yeah, the lodger's tax audit. And other than that, we've had some personnel issues in finance, but we'll work through them and get fully staffed again. And right now, we're just trying to keep our heads above water, so,
As usual.
yep.
Any questions for Susan Peak?
You know, one was just, I know y'all are sending out the letters for the short-term rental applications. I know with the fees, is there a way, because I know some of those fees, that they go towards, their percentage goes towards workforce housing and stuff like that.
We're putting it in one fund and the council will decide on what percentage goes to workforce housing and.
I didn't know if there was any way to put notes in those, so owners know that this money's going, towards.
So, Mr. Mayor, the thing is that those funds can only be spent on either water rights or short-term
Workforce housing.
workforce housing. So and the council will have the decision on which funds get spent on which one of those 2. But that's all in our ordinance, that's all it allows us to spend those funds on, is those 2 items.
That way people know, the money's.
Director Ralph wanted to add something.
Counselor Weeks, in all our communications we've done on the short-term rental program changes, the podcast and the Village Voice, we have conveyed that the permit fees go to those 2 programs.
I knew that, yeah.
Yeah, we're trying to make sure that word gets out.
Yeah.
That it's not just coming back to my budget to be blown on advertising.
Mr. Mayor, we did it this way, we kind of left it open for the council to decide, because I didn't want to tie our hands and then have money we couldn't use when we needed it somewhere.
And
So
quite
it's
frankly,
discretionary for the council.
Yeah, we don't know if and when we have the opportunity to purchase or lease water rights, what that cost will be in addition to the workforce housing. I'm sure the numbers are all preliminary too coming in, so once we get a better understanding of what that income looks like. But yeah, good point to keep the public educated on what we're using that money for. Okay, I think that does it for staff reports this evening. Do we have any committee reports this evening?
So I would just, quick note on Workforce Housing Committee, that committee is now meeting weekly. We're in crunch time. We have narrowed the vendor selection down to 4, and there's a presentation by Sustainability Partners tomorrow evening to go through, pass through rent costs, different options, different packages, so we're getting very close on vendor selection.
I'm
promise I hope we'll have something in a couple months at least to talk about. That's exciting.
Well, it's a deadline. If we're gonna get this housing in this year, we're working that committee pretty hard to get to the decision point, so.
They're on track, they're on task, on schedule. But it is a lot of hard work, so I appreciate Jake and the committee for tackling that. Any other committee reports at this time? If not, we'll move on to new business. I'd like to open discussion for item A, approval to proceed with asset disposal of 4 Harris analog handheld radios and 1 Kenwood analog mobile radio. Police Chief Jerry Hogreef.
Good evening again, Mayor and Council. Yes, that's exactly what this is. We have transitioned to digital capability. These analog Kenwood and Harris radios are essentially obsolete to us. They still have some service life in them. Speaking to the area law enforcement agencies, the village of Cuesta does desire and provided a letter of interest in having these donated to them, and they would go to good use. Otherwise, they're gonna sit in a box or a closet probably. So it's my recommendation that you approve this donation to the Village of Cuesta Police Department.
Any questions for the chief? If not, Mayor Pro Tem Howe, if you could make a motion.
I make a motion to proceed with asset disposal of 4 Harris analog handheld radios and 1 Kenwood analog mobile radio.
Second.
Roll call vote on item A. Mayor Pro Tem Howe,
Aye.
Counselor Crane,
Aye.
Counselor Weeks,
Aye.
and Counselor Humbert.
Aye.
Motion passed.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Moving on to item B, I'd like to open discussion for the approval of resolution 2025-07, authorizing investment of monies in local short-term investment fund. Ms. McPeak, did you want to present this item?
Mr. Weir said he was gonna present.
Mr. Mayor, I can actually do it if you want. So we are looking at moving our excess cash out of the current in-bank and into the local government investment fund. This is something that was recommended in our last audit by our auditor. So we're just doing that, and we have to, in order to complete that process, the council has to, in resolution, approve us moving the money into that fund.
Can you give them an approximate sum of money that would be moved?
So right now, it's probably gonna be between $10 and $12 million.
Will there be any interest paid on it?
Oh, yeah. So it's the local government fund is restricted in that it can only invest in federal government funds and local bonds. So it's gonna probably be similar to a money market fund at around 4% interest.
Any other questions or discussion? If not, I'd ask Mayor Pro Tem Howe to make a motion.
I make a motion to approve resolution 2025-07, authorizing investment of monies in local short-term investment fund.
I'll second.
Roll call vote on item B. Mayor Pro Tem Howe,
Aye.
Counselor Crane,
Aye.
Counselor Weeks,
Aye.
and Counselor Humbert.
Aye.
Motion passed.
Moving on to item C, I'd like to open discussion for approval of village clerk taking oath of office. Manager Weir?
Yeah, so this is actually, I owe the council and actually our prior 3 clerks an apology. I did not realize that state statute requires the clerk to be sworn in. Actually, Ileana discovered this when she was visiting Red River's clerk to try and see how they do things. And she spent an afternoon with them, and they were surprised to hear that she wasn't sworn in. It's totally my fault, I just didn't know. She has been the acting clerk now for 2 months, 3 months.
Since January 15th.
So, again, my apologies to the council, but I can assure you won't happen again. But Judge Hill did agree to come to the meeting to perform the swearing in. And I really want to express my appreciation for you coming. And Judge Hill, I turn it over to you.
Thank you.
So I believe this motion needs to be passed first, right, before it gets sworn in?
I mean, it is an action item, so we should, ask Mayor Pro Tem how to make a motion.
I make a motion to approve the village clerk taking an oath of office.
Second.
Humbert on that one?
Yeah.
Counselor, okay. Mayor Pro Tem Howe,
Aye.
Counselor Crane,
Aye.
Counselor Weeks,
Aye.
and Counselor Humbert.
Aye.
Pass.
Hello.
Hi.
Would you raise your right hand and repeat after me? I, Ileana Strickland,
I, Eliana Strickland,
having been appointed to the office of municipal clerk
having been appointed to the office of municipal clerk
of the village of Angel Fire,
of the village of Angel Fire,
Colfax County,
Colfax County,
state of New Mexico,
state of New Mexico,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will uphold the Constitution of the United States,
that I will uphold the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution and the laws of the state of New Mexico,
the Constitution and the laws of the state of New Mexico,
and the laws of the village of Angel Fire,
and the laws of the village of Angel Fire,
New Mexico,
New Mexico,
and will faithfully and impartially
and will faithfully and impartially
discharge the duties of said office
discharge the duties of said office
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my abilities.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Judge.
And then Mayor,
Would you like to be listed as a witness?
I'd love to.
yes, I was hoping you would.
If you would sign this one.
Don't mess that up. It's gonna be in all the pictures if you did.
Thank you. Thank you. May I get a copy of this? No, just bring it.
Finally, on our agenda this evening is our manager report. Manager Weir.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, just a few things. First of all, as was disclosed earlier, we have made a decision to go to a digital format only for our utility bills. That will be happening over the next 3 to 4 months. We're actually starting with this last utility bill, we started notifying the public. We do have an online site, it's very easy for people to go and look up their bills and see what their bills are. We have a large number of people that are already on auto pay, and we will save money on envelopes and postage that are thousands of dollars a year, but the bigger thing is the time and the effort of printing and stuffing envelopes. It's significant. It takes the better part of a week, especially when we have all 3 of our runs to do, because we have monthly, we have quarterly, and we have biannual runs. And so twice a year, we have all 3 of those runs, and it takes several days just to get them printed and stuffed. So we are in the process of moving to that and hope to have that fully implemented no later than July 1. I will tell you there's some good news. I've been really worried about revenue because we were down about 4% year over year in revenue at the end of December. And January and February have been record months in revenue. A big contributor to that was property taxes. Our property taxes are $200,000 more this year than last year. We received the majority of them in January. We do kind of sprinkle throughout the year, receive more, but our January payment was $200,000 greater this year than it was in the prior year for property tax. Our lodgers tax, I'm sorry, our GRTs are, you know, they've been kind of oscillating and but they're pretty flat year over year. But the other big contributor is the $75,000 to $100,000 a month we get in interest payments from the bank that we have not gotten in the last at least 3 years. So we're back to flat, slightly down. You know, right now we're at almost $7 million in revenue for the year as of the end of February. And for that $7 million, we're about $45,000 less than this time last year. So 45,000, when you're talking about 7 million, it's not it's a negligible amount. So I think if we can pull off spring break this year, I think we'll be in good shape going into next year and to be able to continue to afford some of the good things that this council's been doing over the last year.
To elaborate on that just a little bit, I mean, to put it in context, unofficial sources have seen this though, that this is the 4th worst snowfall on record this year, this season. And so to be flat on a less than ideal snow year, I think there's a lot to be said for, the only other thing I could attribute it to would be the marketing efforts that have been put forth over the last few months. So I don't know what else to attribute that to.
I would give marketing 85% of the credit, to be honest. I think the fact that our southern neighbors have had just as bad, if not a worse year with snow, has helped us a little bit, push some of the people from Lubbock and from Midland here that were previously going to Ski Apache. But
not only that, if you would, Director Ralph, prior to the meeting, I heard a statistic, and correct me if I'm wrong, or I'll let you just, but compared to the others, the ski areas in the state, I understood that you're down and we're slightly up.
Yeah, the sense that I'm getting from the others, the Pajaritos and all the other resorts, the Red Rivers and everybody else, they're down 25–30% this year, comparatively to last year. Angel Fire Resort's about flat with last year, dropped down a little bit the first 2 days of this week, but their occupancy numbers come back up starting Wednesday, Thursday, they go up again. Owens at 95% occupancy next week. So next week is really, it's gonna be the tell of how we come out. But if you look at how Angel Fire's done compared to the other mountain communities, we've done well, and it's the first time in my life where I can actually say, I think advertising is working. It wasn't snow. Usually when there's a good year, it's always the snow. And when there's a bad year, it's always marketing. Well, we had bad snow and good marketing, and then we're gonna have a flat year.
that is true. The other thing is that Councilman Crane, I was trying to call you Weeks, and Councilman Crane and I are working on a program with the high school. We're gonna, and I've solicited the help from my direct reports, and we're gonna develop an internship program here at the village. And so right now we're working on a presentation of what those positions would be, and we hope to, within the next several weeks, be able to present that to Moreno Valley High School and start bringing on internships, working with the high school into the village. I think it's a great program for our community. I also think it sets us up well for potential hirings in the future. So it's something we're very interested in. I want to thank Councilman Crane for bringing that to my attention. I just wanna remind you that now all of the meetings, we're posting notice of quorum for all, of the village committee meetings. And so that means that as councilman, you just come whenever you want, you don't have to warn, you don't have to ask. You're all welcome to show up to any committee meeting, cause they're all being posted, as potential quorum. And, the last thing I have is, since we were talking about next week being a busy week, I'm gonna be on vacation, I won't be here, and Chief Hogriff is gonna be in charge as the Chief Administrative Officer in my absence. That's it.
With that, thank you for attending this evening. This meeting is adjourned.
Recording stopped.
Congratulations.
Official now.
Super official. No, that's my own. I'll take it. Some too, great. Let me get your. I have you, well, I'll take them both. Let me text you.
I got one of these. Here are my.
No, just give it to me, then I can use it.
Oh, I have it memorized.
575-447.
I've already got one.
1227.
Chief,